Welcome back to Slightly Average Guys, the show where we don't have to explain what we're going to talk about because even we don't know. This week, we got Ryan Teeter, who goes by AKA Teeter Time. Then next to him, we got Andy, who goes by Andy. That's how cool he is. He just goes by simply Andy. Okay. Next, we got myself, Slightly Average Ryan. I don't know if this show's going to be above par, below par, or on par. I want to get your guys' vote. Andy, I'm coming to you first. How do you feel this episode started already and where it's going to go to?
I'm actually impressed. I think that was one of the best intros, so I'm saying above.
Oh man, I really wish I had sound effects already prepped up to be like. Ryan, what about you?
I'm going above, and I have a question for Andy because as soon as you went down that speech, all I could think about is Toy Stories, Andy. So, Andy, do you have a tattoo on the bottom of your foot that says Andy? And if you don't, you need to get it.
Well, I wouldn't, but my wife should.
That is true. Yeah.
I mean, this is should you? Because you are of yourself and you're owned by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that actually brings up one of the best points possible, right? And it is our main topic for today, which is, do we live in a simulation? Gotcha. We actually knew what we were talking about today. Andy, how do you feel about simulation situations? Whether it's about returning the cart, putting the thing up at the front desk, I don't know, dropping your pants, worrying if you're going to get arrested. How do you feel like do we live in a simulation or not?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about this for hours, but I'll just say yes. I definitely.
Please move on.
What?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna go to Ryan. Ryan, do you just answer simple yes
Andy,
or no?
And
we're gonna come back to like how he believes this.
Andy, you gotta keep going until we cut you off.
Nope, he's got to go off on a tangent. So first, I need to know, Ryan, do you believe simulation or not, and whether Andy is going to change your mind?
They make simulation games out of real life. So that's, I think, my main argument about us actually living in a simulation is because they make simulators that do the exact same thing. And our day-to-day lives are to a T, you're going, most people, right? Some people literally just toss a coin and they're like, okay, I guess I'm doing that. But most people, they have a routine. And if that routine gets broken, that's hard for people. They're like, I don't want to do that. We're all in our little comfort zones. We're all in our own little like world,
creatures of habit. Yep.
Creatures of habit. And yes, I think there could be arguments to a simulation.
All right, Andy, we're coming back to you because first off, I believe we could be living in a simulation, maybe a little bit different, but Andy, let's pull the ripcord off.
Let's dive into this.
Yeah, let's dive in. What are your deep thoughts by Jack Handy?
Okay, so all of what Ryan just said too, but when you look at the movie Free Guy, I think that's a very telling and insightful look into, you do the same thing, and then you have so many people around you, just like he does, that say, hey man, you're not doing the normal stuff. Like, what are you doing? You can't go against
you can't
normal,
do that.
Right? You can't do that. So when you have people that want to go outside of it, when you look at like hypo successful people that didn't do what they were supposed to do, sometimes you have to take a look and be like, all right, well, I'm just a person in this game or this whatever it is. Like, I'm just doing what everybody's telling me. And the people that are around you that want you to be successful assume that successful or happy or whatever is just the normal that they have been plugged into. So when you just look around and you're like, I don't want to do any of this stuff. And then when you start to layer in a couple of different things. So for one, when you're like hyper focused on something, why is it that you then see that more and more and more and more? If I spend the day focusing on an item or an idea or an activity or something like that, my day fills in front of me with those things, right? You can think about a car. The Secret, that's a great example too. It's like how, if you really want to manifest this and really focus your brain on an idea or this particular thing, then you're presented with that.
Yeah.
How can it be that way?
What theory do they call that? They say if you speak it and you think it, you will think it into existence. There's
manifestation.
Yeah,
is that what the theory is? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, with like goal boards and different stuff, which is a thing that I'm, deep into on, Totally. Like, this is where it's crazy, right? And why I wanted to bring it up and really be like the main thing that we talked about this week, because I for that exact fact, Andy, I didn't know if you were going to go down that path or not, but I was going to be like, that's why I believe it, because like manifestation is a true thing. People prove it all the time. So it's like, okay, right? Like, I used to work for, I was a radio engineer, worked for 95.1 FM back in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And like, yeah, WAJI. But it was just really funny because I worked for that company. I would see 95.1 like dollars or $9.51. It was like those three digits were always together on so many different things because I was always there around that number, and my subconscious was always in it because I worked all the time. So
is it because like we're thinking it into existence, or because it's like, oh, I work for 95.1, right? Oh, haha, there's 90. Like, you just notice it more. So like if you worked for 95.7, you'd look at 95.1 like it was nothing, right? It's just a number. But now that 95.7 is a part of your life, now you see 95.7 because it's like, oh, haha, that's where I work. Or like your address, right? You call it your address and you're like, oh, hey, there's that, you know? And it's that. But one point that I want to add into this too is just life in general. Everybody goes through the same steps in life, whether you're a toddler, whether you're an infant, whether you're an adult, right? We're all going through the same steps in maybe different points in our life, but it's all just laid out for us. You go to school for 24 years. After that, when there's multiple steps within those schools, right? After that, you literally get a job. There's entrepreneurial ways to go too, but it's still laid out for you. You still have like just little paths, like a video game where you just have to answer, oh, yes. And if you don't, then, oh, no, you go down this path. Everything is just a path, and it just leads to a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me, like what you just said about, is it because it's in your life? Like, no, I haven't had that experience where, like, previous job that I had, I was so somewhere else that nothing that would have, like, it just didn't happen to me. But I could certainly see that when you're so immersed into something, that's all you do see. I could see that, but I haven't had that personally, at least.
Yeah, recently. I haven't either. So,
yeah, I mean, just it's like noticing how many silver cars there are on the road, right? But like, there's the same number of silver. Well, it's probably not the exact same, but there's same likelihood of seeing silver cars as there is white cars, and then white cars and there's black cars, right? But it's just whatever your mind is focusing on, right? But it goes to the same point, right? Which is, well, you're manifesting that in your mind, and your mind is making it become reality. You know, so it's to take it full circle. It's like, oh shit, right? The reality is it's not changing the number of cars that's there, but it's your perception of it. And if your perception of life is, this is super deep, by the way, if your perception of life is, hey, it's in the shitter, you know, and everything's against me, right? Well, then the universe will give you exactly what you're manifesting, you know, right? Like, oh, well, why has this happened to me? Versus like, ah, damn, that sucked that I got a flat tire, right? Like, but like, let's just handle it and go on, you know, type of things. Or you're manifesting positivity and what you want, and you're focusing on it and driving yourself forward. And you're not letting yourself be lazy, right? Like, oh, well, you're making it into existence. And
that is exactly what I personally need to work on if we're getting that down to that deep of a level. Because honestly, I do kind of a lot of times like say comments like the world has it against me. Like, that's just my luck. I have the shittiest luck. That always happens to me. I think I just expect it at this point. But this conversation, you know, leads me into I need to work on that because I'm not that positive of a person. I take life as just kind of like, you know, whatever. But being more positive could definitely help with that mentality, that manifestation.
And it's not looking at everything in rose-colored glasses, because like bad things are going to happen. You know, you're gonna get crappy stuff's gonna happen to you. But you let it roll off, and it's just like, all right, well, it's just obviously we could complain about this, but it's like, anyways, well, there's a challenge. I got to fix it. Okay, let's get it fixed. Let's move on, right? Versus, I think the biggest piece to take that, right, and expand on it in a very simplistic way is somebody cuts you off in traffic, or is that dick that like, you know, stays on the berm too long and then like tries to cut in. And I used to be the guy that would get so ungodly pissed at that person, right? And then I was realized like I would be pissed for like the next hour, and which would go into my work day, and then this and that, and I'm like, why am I mad about this, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I'm mad because they're cutting traffic, and I was like, well, fine, I'll just cut traffic too, and I'm like, because it'll slow them down, and I'm like, oh, you're right, like none of this matters. It doesn't even matter at all. Like I'm no longer mad about somebody doing it or things. Somebody runs a red light, it's a little bit different, but it's just like easy things. It's just like, well, I'm not going to let them get over on me. Be like, oh, man, that sucked. I got to slow down for a second, but at least I didn't get in an accident.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do think though, back to like, speaking it into existence and it comes true. Our phones really help out quite a bit with that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that up to whoever's listening. But, everything we say in our lives when our phones are around us, whether it's a product, Andy, like I think you said, or whether it's a car like we've been talking about, or whatever it is, naturally it'll pop up on our phone. And even if it's not a physical object, if it's more of like a conversation topic or an idea like this manifestation idea or theory, I guarantee you in the next couple of days or maybe even tomorrow, I will have that manifestation word on my articles that I read on my phone. I guarantee it. And that just helps this whole entire simulation thing because it's going to pop up on my phone. And I think that's, again, whether that's good or bad, that's
I would definitely agree with that.
About.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. But even if you take it from the standpoint of, not saying it out loud, right? You're doing things like, I'm not in this mode right now. I was about a year ago, and I want to get back to it. Where I was getting up early every single morning, about 4:30, and for the first 20 minutes, right? Just don't let yourself sit there. You get out of bed, and I would go and not full journal, but I would just write what I wanted to accomplish for the day, what I wanted to accomplish for short term, medium, and long term, whatever those distances were. Right? Short term was always today. Medium might have been the month, and long term might have been the quarter or the year or something like that, right? It didn't matter, but I'd write each one and then what I was thankful for, and be like positive affirmations, like I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm capable, right? Like all of these different pieces, and it was amazing how much better, like the shit that kept coming to me every single day. I was just like, man, I'm not mad about this, and I wasn't saying it out loud. I was just writing down what it was. I wasn't just thinking it. Writing it down, and by the action of writing it down, it made the day better, and it made the stuff that was terrible just be like, hey man, I had answers for like almost everything. It was just like, yep, clear head, not mad. I started a new job in not April,
August.
Yeah, June. In June, I was full time here in July, but actually it was May. May is when I started messing around with it. Started a new job, and it's funny because I'm back in franchising, and being back in that world, it is a very stressful world, and very, very demanding. And I talked to Andy about that this week, and I'm like, man, I was like, what's weird is the last 2 years set me up for such situation to where it's like, your life experiences comes back, not just manifestation. It's just like being through it. It's like, man, I'm able to look at things and see people react in meetings and be like, man, that used to be me, where I would like say something with so much passion that it came off aggressive and irresponsible the way that it was being said. And I'm like, man, I was like, I get it now. I get it. Like literally that amount of time to be able to go back through and now have a self-reflection and come back to it. That I'm no longer upset when I'm in a meeting and somebody says something that's like that. It's just like, okay. Right. I think, Andy, you're going through a situation right now. If you want to talk about it or not, that's fine. But like where, you have easy to be down on yourself and stuff. And how is your outlook on life from that standpoint?
So it sucks. Like every time I go, so I haven't had a job for like a month. Like this week would be a month, 4 weeks. And for this entire year, I've applied to constantly like jobs, and I'll get an interview or like a Zoom call or maybe a second one, but that's as far as it typically goes. I got a couple further in a process with a company here called ADP. So my mindset at my job was like, I am done with this. Like I have turned this off. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not happy. And I just was like showing up, and you could tell, like everybody could tell. So I had put all of my thoughts into this idea, like I'm going to get this job. Like I had already had it. I was practicing my exit interview, like how I'm giving my notes, like everything. Well, so that didn't happen. So then I ended up getting fired for no reason. I don't even know why. Like it did. I do know why, because I just checked out, but I wasn't given a reason. So whatever. So fast forward the last 4 weeks, like everywhere I've applied or talked to, nothing comes up. I was telling Ryan this the other day. I was like, I went to an interview, 2, then I followed up, and I was told, well, you're our top applicant. Don't worry. We're just going to finish the process and we'll get back with you. I was like, cool. And it was in franchising. It's not something that I necessarily wanted to do. It was like, I can do this. This is fine. So then a couple of days go by and I get an email like, hey, thank you for, applying, but we went with somebody else. So I was like, oh, what? I don't know how that happened. So I asked, why? I basically just said, can you tell me why? Like, I haven't heard anything, and nor will I. So it's been very frustrating to not be positive. And it's been very frustrating to just be like, what the F? So I go to the gym. So the day that it happened was July 20th. So every day since then, I have gone to the gym. I think today was day 27 in a row. Nice. So I got to go every day. Yeah. Which August 4th, no. August 4th was my 1 year of like consistent working out. Like I put together some whole like year in review, like Spotify does. And like, what do I want to do with the next 12 months and the clinic stuff and all these different things. So like now I'm just like, I'm just going to go. And so I find that it's hard for me not to be depressed when I go work out. But then when I'm at home, I'm just like, what am I doing? So I have been, I'm like, no, I don't know what I did wrong. So you start like searching, like, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? Like, what is the reason for this? Like, I'm trying to find bad things happen in threes. Let me just find some random crap that happened and like plug it in. So like, it's been very, very frustrating. But if I don't do the things that I know that I have to do, I don't know where that would take me. And I don't want to know what that road looks like. So as negative as I am, and like, I argue with my wife, and like, we even had an argument the other day about this. And she's like, you don't need a job to like have importance. And I said, but you don't understand that I don't have value, right? Like I'm not adding value to anybody because I'm not making any money. I take the kids to school, but like, that's it. Then I'm at home all day. He said, but the job doesn't define that. I said, but you don't understand what that means to me though. Right.
Yep.
I need to provide, and me providing is the value that I'm adding. And then whatever role I'm playing for, who cares if it's for somebody else or myself, I'm not doing that. So she didn't really know what to say back to me. Because now, to be fair, I've never said anything like that to her, so she didn't really know. But like,
yeah, and I feel like it's not something that you necessarily. I don't think it's something that you necessarily have to be the breadwinner, right? It's just
no,
it's just something. Yeah, and I think that's a valuable point. But your comment, I'm pointing to you on the screen. But both of your comments, you both said it about positivity and doing certain things throughout the day, and that's those paths that I was talking about. If you're in a slump, which we've all been there, you can keep going down that slump. You can not do anything and just say poor me and keep looking on Instagram, not progressing yourself, and just keep going down that rabbit hole. But there's also a different path. You can choose to not do that. It's A or B. That's all you get. This is the simulation that we're in. Yes or no. Choose a different path. Stay positive. Go to the gym. Get your mental health breaks. Stay off your phone in the morning. Do this. Delete all your phone games, which I'm literally going to do after this podcast. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to change. Right. This is for the better, and hopefully the viewers, get some positive stuff out of this as well. But those are those paths. This is a simulation. Yeah, and sorry to cut in there, but that's awesome.
No, that's good stuff. And like, I had to do the same thing. So I deactivated my LinkedIn, which is tough because I use that to try to find employment. But I find that like a lot of the people that I worked with were viewing my profile to see like if I was changing it or something like that. And you know what I thought about doing? I thought about, all right, well, fine, I'll play this game. And I was going to go change all of my responsibilities at my last job to petty, like high school level crap. Micromanage to the fullest extent, like every bullet point was something like that. And I said, no, I'm just going to turn it off. So I deactivated it. I deactivated my Facebook. I deactivated and deleted TikTok. So I just had Instagram, and I had Twitter, and like I stopped with Twitter because it's either political or it's sports. Like there was no in between for me, and that's my choosing. So I was like, no. So I just went to Instagram because I created my own profile, a second profile that's totally positive from healthy habits, working out, and that kind of thing. Is like I just have to flood my feed, right, with this type of stuff, because otherwise, because when I didn't do that, I came home from the gym at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And the next thing I knew, I was on TikTok until like 2 o'clock to pick up my daughter. And I was like, I cannot do this every day. I just can't do this. Like everything I've worked hard for by personally working out, I'm going to completely ruin, especially my brain. Like I just can't do this. But it's still really hard to not get lost in the like, why me? And I still do it. And it's depressing. And like there's days I sit in my Jeep and I'm like, why? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
But if I don't keep doing that stuff, like I don't, like I said, I don't want to go down that road, but I just know it can't be good.
Oh yeah,
So
you have to get out of it, because even if you say, okay, it's not, say it's zero, it's not positive and it's not negative, right? It's just like, this is just taking up space and it's making me be numb, right? So I'm not doing anything bad, but I'm not doing anything good. I'm just wasting, right? I'm existing instead of evolving. And like, I think an easy way to explain the getting yourself into that rut and continue being like, woe is me. Like, I got into a decent amount of debt trying to start a business a while ago, and like getting in deep into credit card debt and everything else. Like that's truly like digging a hole and throwing the dirt up, but it's just coming right back down on you. You're just sinking further and further, right? Like the same process is for like your mental health on being, down on yourself, and at a point you have to. I even like, it's funny that you guys are talking about doing these things or have done these things. Like I deleted TikTok last week because I was finding myself like, God, like I'm on this all the time. Now I've replaced it with other stupid stuff that I need to also get rid of, because I'm either on Instagram too much for things. At least it's decent people to follow. It's just not mind numbing. It's like, there are positivity and different stuff that's in there, but it's just like, man, I'm wasting too much time on this versus some of the other stuff that I want to do. So deleted that stuff because I kept using the excuse like, well, we potentially use it for this, the podcast stuff and that. I'm like, I can go back to it. It's still active. It's just not on my phone, right? It's like, whatever. It's there. And I'm like, I feel so much better by just deleting that off of there. I'm so close to getting rid of Facebook, but like we're live streaming right now using that. We're also I use it a ton right now for work because I'm the person responsible for setting up all the new locations inside of social media. So there's a reason why I have to keep it, but I'm like, the app's not on my phone. I still use it via the web. Always have.
Plus Facebook and like Instagram are basically the same thing. So I feel like if you're going to delete one, you kind of got to delete the other. Yeah.
And like, just to like Andy's point, right? It's like whatever your feed is filled with, right? Political views or whatever, like any of the apps, it just keeps feeding you the same garbage. And it's like, well, but what is this doing? Right? It's like, what is the point? And it doesn't matter if we're talking about Facebook, Twitter, or X, or it's like, it's like this is just same stupid thing. Like, what's the point of this, right? So get yourself out.
And I'm really sick of the stuff on there that scams. There's so much stuff that looks legit, and they have like different people constantly who are posting videos of, I love this product. This is amazing. 5 stars. It actually works. For example, like that purple like stuff on your teeth. That shit don't work. I didn't buy it, but I had a friend who did. She was like, this stuff is.
I have it. It don't work at all. That was way before even they started posting on TikTok and everything else. Like I got served with, I think, an email ad somehow. And anyway, yes, totally agree. They're also ad heavy that it's like, good God, can you just like give me something else? And then it's like, well, when it is something else, it's also something that's not. It's funny. The algorithm is feeding exactly what you interact with, but it's like, I don't want any more of this. For once, I'm like,
it's a simulation, and you've already put in the details of your simulator. Now you're just living your sim.
And listen, here's another thing too. Why I think we are. There's a new trend on TikTok where people are going live and acting like these AI bots.
Oh yeah.
And so when you interact with them, it is the cringiest shit. And so I have now resorted to just being a troll because I can't deal with the retardedness, and it's so bad. And every comment is like, I blame all of you supporting this. Like, this is a generation of participation trophies that has led to this nonsense. And there's a guy that I follow, and he has some T-shirt that says "Bring back bullying." And I'm like, yes, bring it back, because I watched this guy 3 times pop up on my feed today, where it'll be like he'll get a rose and he'll be like, "Pretty rose," and I'm like, stop it, this is nonsense. So when you watch these people fall in line with these trends, I don't know who starts these trends. You know what it reminds me of is Wall-E. All the people on the cruise ship, right? And they're just, whatever's in front of them is what they're doing, and that's all they see. And it's, they just reset it. Oh, look, it's breakfast, and it's nighttime. Look, it's breakfast. Let's have breakfast. Or it's blue, or it's red, or whatever you're after. Like, it's just, they don't even think about anything beyond that. Or there was one about these girls were trying to dance in Target, and the people in Target were like, "Get the F out of here! You're not dancing in Target." So it was like, "Oh, you're racist." That's where we're at now. So it's like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. And like, it's just that mindness and just mindlessness is the word I'm trying to look for right there.
Want that DLC? Get that out of here.
Yeah. So I have a great, and I'll speak to it afterwards, but I have a great YouTube channel. We'll get into it after the show ends, but I got something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time now.
Oh, well, here, I'm going to give you one that I wanted to do because it goes right into Andy's piece, right? There's other people that are doing things that are actual bots, and those are the ones that are being like the most successful. So there's this homesteading guy that put a camera on his it's like a Roomba, but mows your lawn, right? So he put his camera on that, and like literally there's like 5,000 to 10,000 people watching it at a given point in time, watching this thing mow the lawn, and he's named it Hank, and now has googly eyes. Like, at least he's doing something more with it. Anyway, but my point is, like, I want to say it was a SpongeBob episode, and I cannot find it. I was Googling over here while you guys were talking there, but I swear it was in some cartoon to where they were making fun of this exact scenario, right? Way before, I'm talking like this was like 15 years ago or whatever, way before we had, major social media and stuff. And it was like, let's cut to the most popular TV show that's on right now. Everybody watch it. And for like the next 12 hours it was on, it was just a camera pointed at a jar of mayonnaise. That's all it was. Right. And I'm like, I really want to go live on TikTok. Just put my camera at a jar of mayonnaise, just like have it sit there.
I've watched people recently where they're sleeping. The camera just pointed at them and they're asleep and they're live. Like, how'd that happen?
That was a Twitch thing too for a long time.
Stupid.
I mean,
some guy went on Twitch for like not hours, but days, like 7 days or something like that, constantly live the entire time and sleeping, eating, working, whatever.
I hate people.
Yeah. So to wrap this one up, I'm going to ask it in a different way, right? And Ryan, you kind of mildly hit on it earlier because you were like talking about how you could go different paths and change the trajectory of things, right? So whether we're talking about it's a simulation or manifestation or anything else, maybe it's not that. Maybe we are all just living in our own world like a simulation, right? And everybody's an NPC, except there are different missions to go on. Like, this is a mission. This is why we are talking more in depth. Your friends are direct missions, right? But they're still just characters in your game, essentially, that you're operating on. Could it be that that's what we're living through? And you can choose to take the shitty path and the shitty mission, and you're failing it, or you're taking a better mission, and going down that path. I don't know. Just saying, it's another situation to look at. I know for a fact, one major point. You guys told me GTA map was just released for GTA 6 coming out in the next 2 years. Said it looked amazing. Mm-hmm. Are you guys pumped for it or not?
Oh, I'm definitely going to be getting that game. I'm a gamer, and I play a lot of games, and that could be one of the things that, like, working better towards my life, whatever type deal. But I do it like starting at 10 o'clock at night. Like, what am I going to be doing at 10 o'clock at night? I mean, I could be making videos for Slightly Average Guys on Instagram. I mean, I could be reading or doing something else, but I'll probably always be gaming, and I'm definitely going to get that game.
Yeah.
Definitely. 100%. I'm getting it.
Yeah, I love GTA 5 back, you know, and I never went to the online one where everybody is still currently playing it. You see people all the time on Twitch and TikTok and everything that are, you know, playing the game and they're like a real life cop and stuff. I'm like, man, how could you be that character for that long? Like, just go slam the car into like a bunch of other cars. Like, that's the most fun.
They literally play it like a simulation now.
Yeah, they get on and they're like, oh, Officer 4A5, we need a plate ran. I'm like, who's on the other end and what are they doing? Because you can't. Who's got a database of plates in GTA?
Some nerd with an Excel spreadsheet. Somebody. And some of these guys are monetizing these servers that they're creating too, and they're making tons of money.
Absolutely. $10. It's like a subscription, man.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I missed the boat. So anyway. All right. Well, we're at 30-minute mark. Appreciate everybody joining us with us for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed the very in-depth and not just random, actually thoughtful, ness about our mental health, Andy's mental health, his current job situation, how Ryan needs to remove every single thing off of his phone and stop gaming so much. But whether you got a positive or negative out of it, please leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and follow us. We will see you guys on the next episode.